What is going on, guys? We are live from the car today. Just kind of how the schedule worked out, but I am super excited. Again, if you are tuning in live to the NHL DFS puck drop, it is going to be the same format, honestly, that I would normally use in a recorded version. There's a lot of news today and a lot of things to kind of shore up with line rushes. So let's get into it. And I am going to just start with the great page from Fantasy Labs that is a free tool um, to check odds and implied totals and game totals. So we will start here. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We are over 2,000 subscribers, but we are looking to continue to grow this channel as much as possible. And I think all the support from you guys, comments, likes, all those things go so far. So we greatly appreciate that. So let's get into it here. So, and as per my research last night and throughout the day, Colorado's spot, even on the road here against San Jose, who's just been abysmal defensively this year, comes in with the highest implied total at 3.7. And they are also our biggest money line favorite at almost minus 220. And then the next biggest gap is down to Calgary against Ottawa at minus 154. So, and obviously these numbers can change per book, but I think, just in general, and then the Jets coming in at a 3.5 total, and that game is still a 6.5 total overall. So I think you'll see heavy targets on these types of teams. I still really like Ottawa here, honestly, for value, even though that they're going to be one of the second biggest underdog of the slate. I just think that they can score goals, and Austin Matthews is out. So that will reflect a little bit in their total, but probably not a ton. Edmonton is not a stellar defensive team by any stretch of the way. So, let me check my slides once we get there. But there definitely is somebody. Yeah, McDavid will be probably a lock for me as well. I think there's actually easily a path to get McKinnon and McDavid if you want it, but not necessarily a must. So. All right, let's get into the slate, guys. Let's get into I'm gonna bring up, let's see here. We're gonna try this. So my slides that I would use, let me see if I go to view and present. If this does not work this way, we'll have to do something different. But okay, so yeah, it does. Awesome. So Kaprizov on the cover. Not just trying to be a wild homer, Jeff, but I mean, they didn't even give him the respect of the point streak, of his elite talent. And it's not just like luck goals. Like this kid is insane. So I love Kaprizov, and we'll get to him in a little bit, but at the winger position. But he is the cover boy, and he deserves it. I'm not going to spend much time on the odds page here because we already kind of updated it. There's not really any major changes, honestly. So I think we're good to go there. You don't have to try to be a homer. You are a homer. Well, yeah, touche. Kaprizov. Yeah, Kaprizov. Russian. Okay, so stud centers. Obviously McDavid and McKinnon are at the top of the list, right? You're getting a $700 discount on McKinnon with the highest implied total against a terrible San Jose team this year. Even with Carlson back, he's not really that good defensively, honestly. He's just, I remember the drink. Yeah, slurp that thing down in like 20 seconds. But Scheifele at 7.7 is really GPP only for me, because, and that would be if you went a stack of that game, because I think there's just going to be a lot of goals in that game, and Dubois is still on the top line, and honestly, he's not getting top power play line, and his price finally went up to like 4.7, I think. So Dubois is still fine. Barkov, I love at 6.9, and now that he's going to be paired with one of my favorite values of the slate, I think you can definitely get there. And it feels good to have some correlation with him instead of him skating with Duclair and for Hagee, I think was the other guy that was up on that line. So John Tavares will be really interesting. I'm really curious to see what his ownership will be at 6.7. He is going to be replacing Matthews in that center position with Marner and Joe Thornton. So I don't know. I think you're getting, quite a bit of a discount in a player in a really good spot. He's just been really disappointing this season. And part of that might just be because Austin Matthews has been so good. a lot of those scoring, that line has just scored so much this year with Marner and Matthews. By the time Tavares gets out there, it's like, well, it's already 3-0. So I don't know. I'm not sold on Tavares. I prefer going up to Barkov, honestly, or McKinnon. The matchup just isn't as good for Barkov. As basically a pick 'em. I think Florida is now with Carolina, but at the mid range, I really like Pettersson. Honestly, I think if that game's going to blow up and have just a lot of goals on both sides, we know he is like an elite talent at one of the top, probably top 10 young players in the league. He just hasn't had a lot of shot floor, so he's always hard to target in cash. But if there's going to be a game where they're going to project for 3 to 4 goals, that he can definitely be part of multiple goals in that situation. Monahan at 5.5. They actually bumped Lindholm off of the center position on DraftKings and moved him to winger. And I think I don't think the lines have changed unless I missed that. I'm pulling it up here right now. Oh, it did change. That's why. Duh. Oh, they fully stacked the top line. So I'm glad I saw that. But Monahan is going to be centering now Lindholm and Gaudreau. So you could that's a great stack right there too. Pretty reasonable, about 5.5. I think Lindholm 6.5, and I think Gaudreau's around 6. So that's a decent stack. Stacking up Calgary 1, and they will fully correlate on the power play as well with Anderson at the point for the power play. Kadri would be a cheaper way to get. Yeah, I saw that. That must have just recently changed. Or that was only last game, it looked like, from what I'm seeing. In the last game that he skated on the wing. Normally he was centering the top line with Tkachuk. So, they moved Backlund. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Kadri 5.4. A nice power play exposure. To Colorado 1. Their top power play unit. Obviously, I think he's a little bit more goal assist dependent, but I think he's got decent goal equity value at 5.4. Colin White has been on a tear for Ottawa, 4.3. He's viable. Getzlaf is finally getting, the close to like 18 to 20 minutes of ice time, where it's honestly really hard for someone like him. He's kind of like Kopitar, like hard to pay off his price tag. The problem with Anaheim is he just doesn't have as many good players around him. At least Kopitar has Dustin Brown, who's been, definitely more viable than what Anaheim has to offer. Wenberg, I assume, unless it changed this morning, will still be. I guess I obviously already looked at it, but I think he's still centering the second line, with Hornquist and Huberdeau. So if you want to get exposure, or you want to do a mini stack with Hornquist or Huberdeau, you can use Wenberg at 3.6. He doesn't offer much of a floor either, really goal or assist dependent. But, if you think they're going to score a few goals, I think he's in play. Victor Rask at 3.1 is centering Zuccarello and Kaprizov. So he's really cheap and has been really good recently as well. All right, let's get to the winger position. Mitch Marner, 7.9. I think for me, Marner's a stud, right? But I think I like him more when he's playing with a better player next to him, which is Austin Matthews compared to John Tavares. So I think Marner's in play, but at 7.9, I think I just would rather go all the way down to Mikko Rantanen or go all the way up to paying up at my other center position for Connor McDavid. So that's kind of where I feel so far at this point. Zeekster, Stützle, and Batherson are going to be two of my favorite values as well. They just continue to kind of like crush their price tags and they're not moving. So we'll take that. Max P is viable. I think he's more GPP only for me. Tkachuk, both the brothers are definitely in play. I've been loving Brady Tkachuk's just floor. Matthew Tkachuk just needs a little bit more goal or assist, but obviously he's on the better side of the odds flip here for that matchup. But Mikko Rantanen, I don't remember the last time I saw him sub 7K. I think, if you are fading McDavid and you just want to play McKinnon and Rantanen, I like that a lot because I think that line is just like due to go off. And then if you want to easily stack Landeskog at 5.2, and this obviously can be more of a results-driven price, I think, because they have not really had those like games. If you play DFS, NHL DFS last year, Landeskog's price was above 7K, Rantanen's was close to 8K, and then you had the McKinnon, the 8.5 to 9K, because they just correlated so well. It felt like you were playing Boston 1 when you were playing Colorado 1, especially at home. They're not home here, but they get a phenomenal matchup. So I think Rantanen at 6.7 is an absolute steal. If you think of price per dollar per correlation per matchup, I think it's a great price for him. Kevin Fiala, 5.9. I don't know what else to say besides I don't know how he gets below 6K, even though I guess the matchup against Vegas is a tough draw, but I still think his shot volume alone warrants a higher price tag than that. So we already talked about Landeskog. Kaprizov has obviously been insane lately, and I think he's going to be, even as a dog, really popular in cash. I really like him, unless people will just go down to a lot of this really good value. Raquel continues to be like top 15 in the league in high danger chances, and he finally had a goal in the last game, but the shot volume is there. So none of that is going to change anytime soon. Raquel's always been an elite scorer and offensive player, just really stuck on a bad team. Batherson and Stützle skating on, I think they're both on the third line together, but both are one. Let me double check, are getting power play time. I think they're both on Stützle's on the top power play, Batherson on the second, but they're still skating together on the third line. And they're a pair that I don't mind targeting on the third line. They're elite talent. You can't really play McDavid, Hopkins, and you can't play all four of those. No, I'm saying you probably play McKinnon, Rantanen, or you play McKinnon, McDavid, or if you played all three of those and just played McDavid on an island. Or try to pair McDavid with like Nurse or something like that, or PRV, who is cheaper. But yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. So I like Stützle, Batherson, love Vetrano here, getting the top line with Barkov. The only downside to his, he will not get top power play time, but he is on the second unit, and somebody that they would actually use on the second unit. Some of these guys that are listed on the second unit, like Barkov, probably is not going to come off the ice for Wenberg. But you definitely could see somebody like the second defender in Yandel subbing off and allowing somebody like Vetrano to come on if that power play extends too long. So, any questions about the winger? Yeah, all right, let's get into defense, which not honestly, like, whoops, went too far. Brent Burns at 6.8. Had, 2 or 3 games in a row, double digits. Still not like totally sold on the floor is back. So for 6.8, I think it's probably a GPP only for me. Darnell Nurse at 6.3, always love him. I don't really need to like keep talking about Darnell Nurse and Tyson Barrie. I just decided to only list one of them here, but Nurse at 6.3 basically got a double digit floor all season. So yeah, I think Jeff. I think Gerard, Graves, Taves. I thought I mentioned Taves on here, but he's I think the one actually listed. Unless Gerard this morning, did Gerard get listed on the top power play unit? I thought it was Taves, or he at least was on the last game. Yeah, it's still Taves. I see. So he's definitely viable there as well. Yeah, Gerard or Graves, I think, or any of those Colorado defensemen. I think Dumba is honestly way too cheap at 4.4 as well. Carlson, I still think is too cheap. If you ever play, like, Carlson's not 4.2, even though that seems like a results-driven price as well based on the season. But yeah, I don't love the mid-range here with Ekblad, Falk, and Muzzin. So for me, it's honestly probably just paying down, or if you pay for Taves or Nurse. Pietrangelo and Theodore obviously are always in play too, and these are actually cheaper price tags than you're normally going to get on these two elite defensemen for Vegas. So I don't mind them as well. But yeah, there's just loads of value on this slate. So I can see people going stars and scrubs and building something with McDavid, Rantanen, and I'll pull up Draftkings here in a little bit, and we can just like play around with some shells if you do want to go totally stars and scrubs. RotoWire has Gerard. Let's see. I have, based on the meter report today, 3-1. Taves still on the top power play, but that could definitely be wrong. So yeah, definitely something to probably look back into and check. But all of them are in play, I think. But yeah, Gerard for this price, that'd be a great value to get him there. Goalie, which I don't really like to spend a lot of time on. Grubauer will be popular, even though I don't love paying that much for a road goalie. I think, he's obviously the biggest favorite of the slate. Hellebuck, I think if you think Winnipeg just wins, he's going to see a ton of shot volume. So that one's like, if he wins and gives up less than 3 goals, he likely to see 27 to 32 saves. He could definitely pay off that price tag, right? Fleury as well, who I expect to start, could definitely pay off that price tag, as Minnesota's shot volume has definitely increased recently. But I do really like Minnesota's on a 6-game win streak. So I like Talbot at 7.4. I think you're getting a good discount on him for how good a form they're in, even though they're definitely the underdogs in the slate. And I didn't update this. Like, the chalk goalie is going to be Dreiger in my opinion, and probably the best goalie play for Florida. He's 7.3, and they are now listed as, let's see, I have them. I guess Carolina is like the slightest of favorite, but the game is basically a pick 'em. So I think he will come in as pretty chalky in the goalkeeping department. I do like Gibson. Obviously, he's just an elite goalie. And Murray at 7.1. If you think Ottawa can pull out another win against Calgary, he's going to see a ton of shot volume, per usual, that Ottawa gives up. So going into the last slide here, content here, just some fun stacks. Obviously, you can stack, and this was before, if Girard is on the top unit, then I would replace Taves here with Girard. But McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen, I think, will be the most popular stack in GPPs. And then the fact that you can easily pair that with like Batherson and Stutzel, or Kaprizov, Rask, and Spurgeon. Spurgeon's like 3.7. And this whole line, Kaprizov, Rask, and Spurgeon, are all on the top power play unit too. And yes, they do kind of roll their power plays and kind of just like go, they might start out with the second one instead of the first one. But I mean, those guys fully correlate. And then when I talked about too, that GPP stack of using somebody like Mark Scheifele and then using a cheap Wheeler and Dubois, and Connor's honestly underpriced too, in a power play stack, that stack could easily go off against a pretty weak Vancouver team in terms of defense. So I like all those spots. Obviously, the obvious Edmonton stack. I do really like the Barkov stack with Vetrano. Or you can honestly just do a power play stack and use Barkov, Huberdeau, and Hornquist. I think that is certainly in play as well. So let's move over to DK here quick, just to build something really quick. Just not even build. I just kind of want to like shell out what you might be thinking about if you want to go a stars and scrubs type of build. And yes, my balance does look a lot less, but I did pull off quite a bit. Starting investing in some of that crypto. It's like on DK, the money's not going to do anything just sitting there. So let's invest it, right? McKinnon 8.5. So let's just say you went McKinnon and Rantanen, right? Like that's maybe a shell somebody might go with. Obviously, let's plug in like a chalk goalie who I think will be Dreiger. Where is he at? Right here, I think he's going to be pretty popular home goalie. Let's just plug in if Girard is on the top unit. Toronto. I mean, like, this is totally doable, right? Like, you start plugging in like Stutzel, maybe at D, you punt down. Maybe I didn't use. Maybe instead of Stutzel, maybe I want my homer. I do want him, honestly. Kaprizov. You could definitely fire like Spurgeon and Rask or something. So I mean, like, it's totally gettable, right? To get to McDavid, McKinnon, and Rantanen if you want to go that route. So plug away how you want, guys. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways to go on the slate. So if there's any other questions, I'll definitely answer those. Otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in. Like the video. I'm going to get core plays out here for our premium subscribers at FSI. And then we will hopefully cash in tonight. All right. Signing out.